I'm David Marsh, and welcome to Exploring the Human Journey.
Exploring the Human Journey.
Hi, and welcome. I am so glad you joined us. My special guest today is Tami Sharp. She is awesome. Can't wait for you to hear all of the wonderful things. Recently, I got a chance to spend some time with her, and I want you to watch this video.
I am Tami Sharp, and I am a healing arts practitioner. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, life coach, Reiki master, and I work with the subtle energy bodies and the subconscious mind to heal and help people live their best life. I was raised to be open and be able to explore my religious and spiritual options. I do have a lot of religious clients that come in that are kind of like, what do you do? I have really, really good friends that are completely open to the spiritual realm. However, their religious teachings have instilled fear in them. So they think, tarot card readings are the devil. And a lot of people think that hypnotherapy is mind control, and it is not. I get a lot of flack because, oh, you're a life coach. Yes, I am a life coach. And there's a reason that I'm a life coach, and it is not because I'm on a soapbox, and it's not because I think I'm better than anybody or I've had it all figured out and life was handed to me. I have been through so much pain and struggle and suffering. I've been divorced. I am a single mother to a 3-year-old. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. But I do have some answers. I do my own work. I know how to be happy. I know how to process emotions in a healthy manner that helps you move forward in life. And by doing that with myself and doing the work within myself, then I can help others. We're all in this together. It's not about a hierarchy of who's better and who's worse. We're all human and we're all trying to figure it out. So why not shift together? If you follow me on social media, my website, my YouTube channel, Facebook, any of that, you will notice that I am not perfect. One of the things that I teach in my practice, and I live by it, is break up with perfection. Just show up and be you. The world needs you to be you in everything that you do. There is only one. So if you suck at everything that you do in life, that's fine, because there's only one you in the entire universe, so nobody else can suck the way that you do. So own it. Be you and screw up, fail forward. I fail forward all the time, and by owning that and not making excuses, not feeling guilty or shame around it, I am able to lift myself up and raise consciousness for humanity and help others do the same. We can look out and blame everybody else and say that it's our politicians and it's the planet and it's this and that. No, in order to play your role in the evolution process and the shift in consciousness, you need to look within and heal those parts within you so that you can shine your light outward unshakably.
Awesome, Tami. That was amazing.
That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for being part of my journey. You talk about a shift in consciousness and being you. You're the only you, and it's okay to fail. I love that. Leo the dog is on set. Come here, boy.
Hello, Leo.
Come here, Leo. No,
I'm a Leo, so we
it works. Well, he's off camera right now, but if he comes on set, that'll be a fun part. So talk about shifting consciousness, talk about fail forward, talk about there's only one you.
Well, in today's society, there's such a pressure to feel perfect. And, with social media and all of the primed and polished videos that we have, which is great and amazing, it sets a bar and it sets expectations and pressure. So people don't end up living their best life or doing what really makes them tick. They don't go into their passions or their purpose because they're scared, they don't feel like they're good enough or that the world will accept them or whatever. And then we have all of the haters and the trolls on social media that when you do step forward a little bit, they will tell you, oh, well, you suck, you shouldn't do that. And so then we go back and dim down and play small. And that doesn't serve anybody. And one of my videos I talk about, we're not here just to work a 9 to 5 and survive. What is that? I'm pretty sure whatever your God of understanding is, that wasn't why we got whatever this is.
You're born, you pay some bills, you die. There you go. Enjoy your life.
You suffer. I don't believe that we're here to suffer. I believe that we're here to learn lessons.
And part of that lesson, experience, enjoying is you're going to have the paradigm of something you don't necessarily prefer, so you can identify what you do prefer.
You do, and you need to, there's duality to everything. So people always like, oh, we want peace on earth. Well, we'll never truly have peace on earth because there's always going to be a flip side. There is yin yang, feminine, masculine, dark night, like there's duality to every single thing. So a lot of people get stuck in one side and forget about the other side. They think that that's all that we have, and it's not. So everything is a cycle, everything ebbs and flows, but people get like sucked into this belief system that where they're at is just where they're meant to be, and that's where they're going to stay. And we create our own suffering and our own hell, and that's a choice. Every day it's a choice whether or not we want to wake up and be like, is this going to be a bad day or is this going to be a good day? And, you know, right now we're coming into the holidays at this point. We have New Year's. So everybody's doing their New Year's resolution and it's going to be a new year, a new me. But right now, like literally right now in this moment, it's a new you. Oh, it happened again right now.
Yeah.
It's the present moment.
Yeah.
So coming present and finding the balance and not trying to go too far to one side, too far to the other, but just bringing both sides of the duality into the center.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to find happiness and your purpose and your passion.
So good, because if you live in the present, you're not going to be affected by all the failures and the regret of the past. You're not going to be affected by all the worries and the concerns of the future. You can't control anyone. You can't control any of those things.
You can't control anything.
Can't.
Control is an illusion.
Yep. And then you get into the fact that you're trying to control your family, your work, then the religious paradigm or the political scene. You're like, that's all of the stress and the anxiety.
The stress and the anxiety. And the thing, anxiety and stress comes from thinking too far ahead. We're too far in the future. We're trying to control all the things that we can't control. And then depression stems from hanging on to things that happened in the past. Stuff happens to us in life. I have my own personal beliefs of why some things happen to us, because in the human form, I believe that everything's energy. It's all just different levels of energy, and there's only certain lessons that can be learned in human form. We are emotional beings. We can, we can talk a whole nother show about the emotions, but we're emotional beings. And in human form, we get to experience stress and anger and hate and frustration and love and happiness and bliss and all of these things. So in order, like you said, in order to understand one, we have to go to the other side. In order to truly appreciate happiness and love, to really appreciate it and know what that is for you, you need to understand the sadness and loneliness and despair. If not, you take things for granted really easily.
How can you know the light if you've never seen the dark? If all you ever knew was light, you're like, I don't understand what light is. Well, you're in it. Well, there's nothing to compare it to.
Well, and there's a term called light workers, and I would think a lot of people watching this may be familiar with that term, but light workers, we're here for a reason. We're here to help guide people through the darkness and to be part of the shift in evolution and consciousness. And I tell people all the time, because a lot of my healer friends in the community, we get frustrated. We're empathic, we're intuitive, we take on other people's emotions, we feel it, we feel the heaviness and the pain of the world, and it drops us down, and it's frustrating. It's really easy to check out. It's really easy to go on Facebook and scroll for hours and just get into our little ego worlds. But you need to remember, like, we're light workers. We did not come down to be a beacon of light and hang out in a room full of lights, like we're lit up here. Like, oh, hey, look at me, you're a bright light, so am I. That's cool, let's party. It's like, what are we here for? No, light is meant to light up darkness. So as light workers, we got to step up, go into the darkness and not dim down to appease the people in the darkness, but to shine brighter so that they're like, oh, light isn't scary. We can see things here.
That is awesome. I love it. So you can feel the passion, you can feel the emotion that Tami Sharp brings. You're like fiery.
Oh, so fiery.
You're like, you bring excitement, you bring light. From the time I met you, short time that I've known you, you've got ideas, you've got plans, you've got things you want to do, you have ambition. And how do you separate the things of the ego? You're like, I've got to be powerful, but how do you then say, no, I have ambition and I want to be of service? How do you separate those two things, or incorporate maybe?
Well, my duality, I've learned the hard way. I've been knocked down by life, and I used to be, so I'm, like I said earlier, I'm a Leo. So by Leo, if you believe in astrology and all of that, I am an ego-driven being by nature, and I am very fiery.
Yep.
And I used to be extremely egocentric.
Is Leo a fire sign?
Fire, yeah. We're all about pride and showboating and all of that stuff. I'm now a hippie Leo.
Nice. The enlightened
I'm an enlightened Leo.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Sagittarius, and that I was told was a fire sign also. So I'm like, oh, Leo,
we get along.
Sagittarius.
We're very fiery, very passionate.
It's so warm in the room, right?
But yeah, so in my youth, I was cocky.
When you say was, meaning as past tense, like you're not now?
I could still be, but I'm confident. There's a difference between cocky and confident.
Yeah.
And I was very egocentric. And I've done a lot in my life, but there was a time where I lived on Maui in Hawaii for about 10 years. And there was a significant period in my life where just the island and the universe rocked my world. It took away everything. I went through a divorce. I lost my business, my friends, my family, my money, credit, like all of it just gone. And I was a little girl on an island in the middle of the ocean being like, what do I do?
Wow.
And it humbled me. And I had to learn humility. Because I was doing everything, I lost everything that I thought that I wanted and everything that I thought was important. Like I had the dream. I had a business, I had a husband, I had a house, I had my car, all of that stuff that we shoot for that makes you an adult.
Yep.
And then I didn't have it. And when I had it, I was miserable. I was stressed out. There was never enough money. There was never enough love. There was a lot of other issues in my marriage and in the life that taught me a ton. I was not happy. I was content. And I was doing what I thought I should be doing, but I was never happy. So when I lost everything, for about the first 6 months, I was devastated and just confused in a very, very, very dark space, made stupid decisions, and just had to be in that. You know, I cried on my bathroom floor almost every night and was just broken. Yeah. I felt broken. But through that, I started learning how to listen and trust, and there were just so many synchronicities and coincidences and spiritual lessons that got my attention so blatantly that I couldn't deny it. And I had to take my spiritual connection serious and study it and learn it. And then all of a sudden my healing journey really began, and I got stronger in myself, stronger in my trust, and learned how to let go and be guided and trust the process. And through that, the most amazing things have happened in my life. Completely transformed.
Now, I had that belief system, that religious narrative. You talked about you didn't necessarily have that. You had a very open idea. So as you're going through these personal issues in your life, did you have something you're like, well, I know this is, you know, the truth of the reality, or were you just lost? I mean, frame that for me.
I mean, I've always questioned. So my mom was raised Christian, but I wasn't raised to go to church or have anything shoved down my throat. There were hints of it, and I had my experiences, so I knew enough. But I always said, even from when I was early childhood, if I was going to study religion, then I was going to study all religions. And I never really saw myself doing that because that seems overwhelming and daunting and not like fun. Yeah. It doesn't seem fun. Yeah. And now here I am, like I actually do study all religions, and I take it the bits and pieces, and there's the one common thread, love and light. And for me, going through all of that, I mean, there's definite questions and doubting, but Maui is a different place. It's so spiritually connected, and the things that happen in my life, I mean, you could put a couple $1 million cash on the table and ask me to change my story, I would not. Because of, I mean, I've seen things, I've experienced things, I've felt things that scare a lot of people. They scared me. I definitely had my moments, but it I don't know how to explain it. It makes more sense.
It does, yeah.
Than the stories that we're told.
Yep.
The fear stories that we're told.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard Rohr is quoted as saying, there's always a mythology in every belief system, and sometimes the mythology is even true, but not all the time. And so those mythologies that we've developed they're there to explain a greater cause, a greater thing, a greater purpose, and a greater reason. And if you look at everything as being complete literalism, you might miss the meaning of it. You might miss the truth there. And so even if you're given a religious narrative that said this is the only way, you still have the opportunity to expand and to grow and to say, well, maybe that's just a belief system. Maybe there's something bigger and better. And you found in a energy, either you felt it, or because I know you're a Reiki master, you do that as part of your practice. How did you get into where you could feel that?
So that is something that's always just kind of been natural to me, but I did not know what it was. And it wasn't until I was actually in my Reiki class getting my certification that I was like, oh, that's what I've been doing.
You feel like it makes sense now.
I've been doing it my whole life, but there was one particular time my ex-husband, we were in an emergency room. He was sick for the millionth time, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I could do something. And I was sitting behind him, and probably people thought that I was crazy, whatever, because I was rubbing my hands together and just going over his back. And I felt within my being, even though consciously I had no knowledge or awareness of what I was doing, but I felt like I could heal or help move the energy out of him. And he said he felt something, but we still went to the emergency room and he got on his pills, which was that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
That was just in me. And I studied a lot of different healing modalities, and I started getting more into healing. And the first real thing that I got into was aromatherapy. I had someone introduce me to essential oils, and I was like, what is this? And I didn't know. And I was like, okay. And I was in a women's retreat, and she just, every time, whatever anybody needed, oh, I have an oil for that, or I have an oil for that. And I was like, what is this? But they worked, like headaches gone, like we felt the energy of it. And so I started learning from her. And I like aromatherapy and essential oils because it's a tangible thing. You can see it and you can feel it, you can smell it, and then you know that it's doing something to you energetically, emotionally, and physically. And so that was great because I could learn like holding on to something and see it, and then start getting into the energy elements. But with the moving my hands back and forth and whatnot, when I got into my Reiki class and we started moving our hands back and forth, I'm like, oh, I am a Reiki master. I've been here before. Past life stuff and like all the hippie woo-woo stuff like came down, and it was confirmed, being like, welcome back.
That's fascinating. So that to me, because I was just like, you're born and then you die and then the judgment. I mean, I was like chapter and verse. So the past life experience is something that is really profound, and it opens up this entire spiritual soul journey. It's not like a one and done. It's like, nah, you've been here before.
The one and done has that's never made sense to me. Like, what? I mean, I can understand why people are so scared and confused. Just like, here, one shot. Like video games, we get multiple tries. Like, so
or even if it's game over, you're like, would you like to play again?
I'd like to play again. So with the hypnotherapy that I do, which is interesting, the past life regression was the part that was the whole reason I wanted to get into hypnotherapy. Now that I'm in it and I do it, I'm like, wow, the subconscious, like that's amazing. And I'm so passionate about it. But it was the past life regression because, again, of my experiences on Maui, I'd been there before. I knew things. I would always be drawn into certain places. I would just see people differently. I've always been able to see things and people differently. And I was like, why am I here? Why Hawaii of all places? And why there was just stuff. I mean, it's hard to explain because it is, it isn't tangible, but there's stuff that would happen that made me feel like I had been connected. So I started having past life regressions done on me and being like, yes, like multiple, so kapunas, teachers that didn't know each other, different confirmations, I guess for me, guides, whatever you want to call them, would come into my life and be like, oh, you've been here before. Oh, you were this. And it was for years that I would always be told this like similar story from different people. And I'm like, okay, that's just weird.
Can you share any of that stuff?
Well, so there's a place on Maui called Iao Valley, and there's a ton of history there. And that's where the war was, and there's a lot. But I've been told, and I have deep, deep connections in that valley, that I had been there before. Of course, a couple of people have told me that I was like a priestess or royalty. And I want to talk about that for if you do past life regressions, because a lot of people that go back into their past lives, they come up being royalty or Cleopatra or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah,
you were
sure,
really important in the past. Yeah.
And it makes people like kind of discredit and think that it's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself were that person. It can be a symbol, it can be a metaphor. You may be, because we're all energy. So just because we're sitting in this body now, both of us, our energy could have been one in a past life, and we both could have been Cleopatra or whatever.
Fascinating.
So, because it's energy, and so we're coming back together now. Because once we exit human form, we go back in, we expand.
Yep.
This is a shell.
Yep. And
we expand. Anybody that's had a near-death experience knows, like, or even if you've done drugs, you know, like you expand, and it's energy and light and vibration. So with the past life experiences for me there, and it's interesting because my cousin, she also has strong ties to Hawaii. She's more tied to the Big Island, but both of us were the two like black sheep of our family because we're like, oh, we're the Hawaiians, you know.
Nice.
But she dances hula. She's danced hula for like 15 years now. She's changed. She's been given a Hawaiian name, and we've both been accepted in by the people, which is a huge thing because it's respect and it's coming with an empty cup. If you go out to the islands or if you go anywhere on vacation and you have a full cup and you're like, I'm coming here, a lot of people move to Maui being like, oh, I'm going to come and show these savages, you know, the way. And the island, not the people, the island will kick your ass and kick you out. So empty your cup and learn pa'akava'a, which is pa'akava'a is listen. You can't listen, you can't hear, and that's on a spiritual level if you're always constantly talking. If your ego is always going and you know everything, you can't hear the messages.
Wow, let that one sink in. Wow. I like the way you said in the video, you go, well, a lot of people think that hypnotherapy is mind control. You talk about tarot cards, they think it's of the devil and mind control. That was literally the frame that I was given. If you can't explain it, it's of the devil. It's other than what's good. It's dark. It's, you know, the occult or whatever those things are. And the more you begin to let that fear go and you realize all things are here to help this journey, you really can see a connection. So how did you get into that and thinking I need to be a practitioner of this?
So because of the lessons and all of the stuff, I mean, I have so many stories. I owned a bar on Maui and it was next to a mortuary.
Wow.
On Maui, across the road, there's a hill and there used to be train tracks. And so the plantation workers, there's bones in the hill. There's where my bar was, again, Iao, where the war was, the river ran red with blood. And the way that the people downstream knew that the war was over is because the water was clear again.
Oh, wow.
So there's literal warriors underneath my bar. Like it was a very interesting place to have a bar. And when you have a bar with people coming in that are not in their right mind, their auric field is open, so other stuff's coming with them too. So there was a lot of energy moving through this place.
Could you feel that at the time?
Always,
yeah.
Always. I've always been very sensitive to energy and been able to see and feel things. I see dead people, that kind of thing, like true. And in there, like anybody that worked there, we've all seen, there was a guy, a ghost or whatever that lived in the back and he'd walk back there. He was harmless. There was a girl that was there, but every once in a while we would be there at night and we had kind of a rule of thumb. Like at the end of the night, you're supposed to clean up the bar, like make sure that it's ready for the next day. There were some days where you just needed to take the cash and get out because you'd be washing dishes and you would just, all your hair would stand up and you just knew that you were not welcome there right then.
Whoa.
So whatever was coming through. And so it would get out. But there was a lot of different experiences like that. I was invited to go to a overnight vigil they were building a shopping center and they found bones. And if you find bones, you are supposed to honor it. Stop moving bones, people. But they were supposed to honor that, and they were not because they, you know, money.
Because their construction guys are like, we got to get our job done.
We got to build the shopping mall because that's more important than history and all of that. So I was invited to go to this overnight vigil where we went down every hour and we called to the Iwi Kapuna, which is the ancestors, the bones of the ancestors.
Wow. And
I was one of the only white people. And when we did this prayer, it was all in Hawaiian. So I didn't understand most of what was being said. And the whole experience was just confirming, crazy, transformational. It was a clear night sky, and as we started chanting, like got pelted with rain. We just got soaked. And I felt this wave of energy go through me, and we all had our eyes closed, and I started crying, and I could hear other people crying, and it was just really, really, really intense.
Wow.
And then the person that was leading the prayer started speaking English, saying, hey, they know that you're here, they recognize you, they want to know who's here. And so everybody said their little bit, I said mine, and then there's like, okay, they hear you, they acknowledge you, you have a responsibility now. And I'm sitting there like, oh shit, what did I just what do you mean I have a responsibility? For what? I have no idea what was just said. Okay.
I just came here to hang. What's up? Yeah.
Like what? But after we finished everything and we connected and ended, as soon as we were done, it stopped raining. And as we were walking back, I'm sitting there like processing, and I'm trying to talk to him like, what was that? And somebody turned to me and they're like, how does it feel to be kissed by 1,000 warriors? I'm like, what? That's what that was? Because I felt a lot. And so there was more conversation, and it was very, very confirming. So that was a pivotal, life-changing moment for me in all of the spiritual woo-woo stuff. I'm like, it's not spiritual woo-woo. It's legit, real. There's other stuff here. And so for all of the lessons that I learned on Maui, once I moved to Arizona, I wasn't planning on staying here, but the Southwest Institute Healing Arts found me. I got in a car accident, and through a series of events, I went in for an interview on Thursday and started school Monday. I was like, oh, I go to school now.
Awesome.
Okay. But for me, I wanted to get the credentials, the paperwork. I wanted the papers because the left brain, logical people, they were like, well, how do you know what you know? For me, my ego needed those pieces of paper so that when people question me, I'm like, no, I went to school for this. Yeah. Even though that just reconfirmed. And it gave me tools. Well,
it shows
techniques.
You did work.
It shows that I'm serious about it.
You've gotten to some point. Yeah. And there was somebody had some measure of accountability and do the work. Yeah.
Measure, yes. Yeah. And yes, so I have the tangible tools, and it did shape me. It made me a softer practitioner because I used to just come out swinging. And
softer than you are now. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, and I don't really work at being soft. You're the best. So that's why I have different programs.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We're getting to that one.
So I have my soft side, and then I have me. But
I read your Facebook posts.
I'm raw and real, and I
love it.
And so it's what needed. So yeah, I put all the papers because I needed for my ego and to help with other people and just make me a better practitioner. Yeah. So, but my real lessons all came from Maui and my life. Mm-hmm.
So you felt like you had been in that area, that whether it was the island of Maui or the Hawaiian Islands, you felt like you'd been there in a different life.
Absolutely.
And you could feel that energy. Mm-hmm. And isn't it interesting how then you were raised were you raised in Washington?
I was in Washington, and that was cool too, is I grew up in the mountains, very desolate. Yeah. So in the town that I grew up in, it was a 45-minute drive to the nearest like grocery stores or whatever. Yeah. I had a 45-minute bus ride, and I grew up with just a handful of people, and we're in the mountains. So my days, and I was raised as an only child, so I spent a lot of time talking to trees and myself and connecting to nature and learning how to go outside and meditate and clear energy outside. Like I need to be outside. And I've never understood that about religion, where people go into a church. So you go into a building to connect to God with all of these other people and all their energy. And it's like, go outside.
Yeah. That's the beauty of nature.
That's just my thing though.
Yeah. No, that's really good. But I think it's interesting how if you felt like you had a past life there, how the universe still made circumstances such that you ended up living there for a long period of time.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is when you get we have free will. So that for me is I believe we have free will. So we absolutely create our own suffering and our own version of hell here because we decide to. But when you get out of your own way and you trust and allow things to unfold, divine meetings happen.
Yeah.
So
I like that. That heaven and hell aren't destinations; they're states of your reality, and you get to choose whether you want to experience that heaven or you want to experience that hell. And those are the decisions, the processes that we do, the stupid things. You're like, oh, why did I do that? Or the attitudes or the things you need to grow through. I imagine there's a lot of people that come in and you're just like, yeah, I totally know what your problem is, but you can't tell them. You have to let them experience that.
Yes.
How does that work for you? Because you're such a blunt person. You're like, your problem's this. Get over it.
That's how I used to be, and that's why school helps. I learned how to not do that to people, and then just ask questions, breathe for myself, and ask questions to get them to see finding their own answers.
I can just imagine them going, well, I have this. It just go.
Yeah. Definitely. And it's I've learned. So, with most, I understand now. So when my clients come in, it's usually like the first couple sessions I can be in that space. But I said when I went through my classes, I cannot just be a life coach. Like, I love having Reiki and hypnotherapy and the other modalities, because then I can actually get in. So like hypnotherapy, I can just be like, shh, like, let me just go talk to your subconscious, and you just shoot. Because after so many sessions, when they're not getting it, me personally, and some practitioners can handle it forever and ever and ever. Me personally, after like 3 or 4 times of talking about the same thing and seeing no results, I'm like, okay, I can't work with you anymore. I can't work in these conditions. Oh, wow. So I do have my own judgments, but that's why it's like, no, I'm not just a life coach. I can get into the subconscious. I can get into the energy fields. Eventually, I will get my certifications in NLP and polarity as well, to even strengthen that and move it forward quicker. Because we do want quick results, but healing is not quick. It's taken how much of your life to get you so damaged and broken and where you're at. It's not going to be a quick fix. And that's why Western medicine drives me nuts too. There's no pill to fix life lessons.
Yeah. You know what there is, though? A lot of money in pills.
I'm going to look at every single camera on that one.
Yeah. So you go to you go to Sweeha, you learn a bunch of stuff, and then you realize you have the ability to help people and move consciousness forward. So since you're coming from a place of life experience, you're not perfect. You've got issues in life. And, I like the way you frame that in the video. You say, people think oh boy, I'm far from perfect. And then you go off on this rant almost about like, oh, I suck and I do all this. But and then you bring it right back around. And you're like, there's only one you. If you're gonna fail forward. Do it. Do it the best you can.
Show up and do it anyway. If it makes you happy. So many other people put their expectations, their perceptions, their filters that they have. So dating. Everybody's so quick to give dating advice, and anybody that gives you advice is not a life coach. That's not our job.
You're not an advice giver.
Not an advice giver. God,
there's a difference.
There's a common misconception with that, and so because anybody can call themselves a life coach, and no, but the quickest people to give dating and relationship advice are the ones that have usually had bad experiences. So you start talking to someone, or like, oh, you come to, so if I came to you and be like, oh my God, I just met someone, I'm so happy. And you may be like, oh, well, what's wrong with them? I get that a lot. Like the first thing is like, yeah, but. Yeah. And that's because of their own crap. They've been hurt. And so they're looking at your life through a distorted filter. The filter, and they're going to bring you down. And it may be good because you could have your head in the clouds. But if you went to someone who has a happy marriage, has a happy life, doesn't have that stuff, and you're like, I met somebody, they're going to give you a different response. They're going to be like, that's so amazing. Like, here's, some healthy advice or whatever. So that's good,
because a lot of people are like, hey, I'm excited. You're like, yeah, let me bring you down to earth.
Bring it down because they're too scared. Yeah. And I get it all the time. Like I freak my mom out because I'm an entrepreneur and I am steadfast in building my business and moving forward. And it scares not just her, but other people being like, you should just get a 9-to-5 and have your paycheck so that you're okay.
You get a safe, secure job.
Get the safe, secure. I'm like, but the safe, secure, then we end up getting sucked into that environment and all of that time and energy, and I'm too tired to, I'm already tired. I'm a single mom to a 3-year-old. I'm tired all the time.
That kid's got energy too. As much energy as Tammy has, your kid's got like 10 times as much energy.
She's teaching me some stuff right now. And it's hard because I'm like, I get tired and frustrated, but at the same time I look at her, I'm like, how do I raise a strong, independent, social butterfly woman? And that's what she is. And so I have to allow her space, but man, she's 3 going on 30.
That's good. One thing I've learned from you is you're really into empowering the feminine. Too many people live in this male society of women there are there to serve the man, or that religious paradigm where you're supposed to be the nurturer, which means the man brings the work in and the woman, and you're like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. You can still be a loving, kind, nurturing person, but you are empowering the feminine. And I think that is so cool.
That's interesting that you say that, because I've been getting a lot of flack lately because I support masculine and I'm working with a lot of men. And I've been consciously choosing to work with the men, and some women don't get that. They don't understand. It changes the story, because I'm not honoring the victim in either side. I'm honoring the victim, but I'm not enabling. So that's a difference. I am honoring, but I'm not enabling the victim's story on either side to continue to move forward. Women empowerment, yes, we're stepping up, we're saying all of this stuff. We have all of these things, of course, in news and social media and with our politics and all of the stuff that's happening. There's this rise up and women are being more vocal. And I support that. And in order to heal and make effective change, we cannot step on the men. We cannot do to the men what they have been doing to us. And stepping and belittling and putting us down.
I love that. And it comes from a place of being a strong woman and having that strength in your femininity that you can say, now, I know who I am. I'm good with who I am. I'm good with being a woman. And now I want to help. I want to help the healing process. That is what's so incredible about you. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I've been wounded. Let's build up the girl power. And you're like, yeah, you are the assumptive. Yeah, I already got the girl power. I'm good.
I've been in, I have a vagina and I look okay. So by default, I've been harassed. I've had my stories, #MeToo, but I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to just sit there and talk about, oh, well, this happened to me. I'm going to take responsibility for my parts. How have I enabled the things? There are some absolute traumas, and I'm very sensitive around that topic. But, with the men that are hurting women and are acting like that, that's a reflection of what's happened to them. It's learned behavior. So if they are out molesting or raping or beating or abusing women, what the hell happened to them in their childhood that led them to that? Because they didn't start off like that. So in order to fix, and the women, unfortunately, that's a symptom of a deeper problem. So if we want to heal it, we can talk about the symptom, that's fine. We can shed light on it. But if you want to actually freaking change it, we have to go back to the root. And that's going to be what happened to the man, what happened to that guy's dad or mom or whatever. There's generational healing, there's karmic healing, there's deeper rooted issues. So that's where I look past the surface. And I do that with my clients, with the issues. I've always been able to see past the story and deeper. My mom, like in high school, she used to roll her eyes because I was the kid that was always bringing home strays, but not stray dogs. I was bringing home stray people. Like, they're broken. Can we keep them? And I could see it. And because of that, I learned the hard way many, many times. I have been hurt. I've been ripped off, lied to, stolen from, abused, beat up, all of it, because I trusted and I wanted to help people. But I never specified how I wanted to help people. And we do this, practitioners and empaths and nice people, we say, oh, I want to help people. And that's all. We just want to help everybody. Well, I helped people steal my wedding ring. I helped people not pay me rent. I helped people have free whatever. I've been, a lot of stuff has happened because I never was specific. So when you get clear, I want to help people heal emotionally to live a positive, productive, healthy life so that they can help others or whatever. When you get clear, then all of that riffraff crap that keeps happening to you stops because you've set up a boundary and you no longer allow it.
That is just the forward progress. And as a strong female, you come from a place of, I'm here to be a light worker, I'm here to help, and you have programs you put in place. Now, you've got a thing where you're doing retreat getaways. You've got one you're planning for Costa Rica. I'm sure there's going to be others. If you're listening to this, years after this was recorded, there's things that you've got moving forward. Tell me about that program and what that looks like.
So currently, the most recent thing, we have Costa Rica, February 1st through the 5th. It's a men's only retreat. I'm going to be the only female. I have a co-coach that's going to be there that's male so that we balance the feminine and masculine energy. And it's going to be for about 15 men, and it's going to be a 4-day, 4-night deep healing retreat. And I want to do a lot more of these. I really love retreats. I've experienced so much life transformation through retreats and getting away and connecting with other people. And when you connect and you learn to see each other, you forever feel bonded to that person, and you're not alone anymore. You find people, because our family and our friends, they're our family and our friends, but they may not be in our best interest. They may not be, they're there to teach us lessons, but they're not always there to hold space and encourage and support us to do what we really want to do. So stepping out into these retreats and workshops and programs, you find your tribe or your community, you find a new family that does encourage and support you wholeheartedly, like truly. Life changes so much when someone says, you are good enough and you can do this and I believe in you, go.
Yeah.
Then like you just see lights and people just, everything changes for them.
Yeah.
So I do the retreats and I have workshops. I have my programs that I have developed and hopefully will be launched this next month. The FU point.
Yeah.
Which is an uncensored,
yes,
it's an uncensored look at boundaries, self-love, and self-worth, and it teaches people to transform their fuck you into thank you and actually mean it. Yeah. And that is my passion project, because that is me. It is a direct reflection of me. I've always been very quick with my FU. I've had a short fuse and a sharp tongue, and I put people in check. And I live a life of gratitude. I'm thankful when, somebody cuts me off in traffic. I may flip them off. I try not to, but I'm still thankful. I stop it. I go right into a place of gratitude, and I've consciously had to work myself there. And when I was creating the program, I was like, I've hesitated for so long because I kept thinking I had to be perfect and being like, how am I going to get people to live in a state of gratitude if I still myself have to go through the FU? And I was like, that's my answer. I have to be able to guide people to go into your FU, like actually own it, acknowledge those darker energies and emotions and things that have happened to you, feel it. So in my workshops, they're intense for this because we get into the anger, we get into the sadness, we talk about the stuff that happened, we address it. I have different exercises where there might be a surrogate where if the person that hurt you or whatever, if you can't talk to them, you're going to talk to them through another person. It's really, really strong. It's
I can
really
see
effective.
how that would be powerful, because you're able to get that emotion out.
You get it out of your body, because the thing is, when you hold on to this stuff, that's the other part with the energy work. We have this stuff happen to us. It stays in our subconscious. It stays in our cell memory, and it stays in our body. And so, deer and other animals are known for when something happens to them, they will go out and they will shake. They will completely shake for 20 minutes and get the energy out. Dogs, cats, they all shake it off.
Leo the dog shakes all the time.
All the time. We don't ever do that.
Yeah.
So something happens, somebody cuts us off in traffic, we're like, and then something else happens, and then we're walking around like this, and then we're like, we don't understand why we have anxiety and depression, and we need pills, and like, let it go.
Yeah.
Move it. Feel the emotions. We try to suppress any kind of weird feeling that makes us uncomfortable. We're like, I don't want to feel that. I'm going to check out. Drugs, alcohol, TV, sex, whatever. We don't want to feel it. So I teach people in a safe environment how to feel and connect to the emotion, because the quicker that you connect to it and acknowledge it, the quicker you can get past it. If you ignore it, it's still going to be there. Same with spiritual lessons. If you ignore your spiritual stuff, it's going to speak louder until it gets your attention.
Yep. That is so good, because there's things that come around in your life. You see these patterns where something happens, and then the relationship or the job or whatever that thing is, and you ignore it and you run away from it. Guess what? The next job you're in, the same thing, the same type of archetypal boss or the whatever that relationship, that same significant other. You see that until you just submit and go, okay, what is it that's broken that wants to be fixed? I have to give that attention.
And we're constantly challenged, but a lot of people get into the victim, oh, it's happening to me again. Well, why? Why? And don't point anytime you point a finger at someone else, look at the ones pointing back. Take responsibility. And it's really hard. It takes a lot of time. I've had many, many fights where I always get myself like, how am I responsible for this showing up in my life? And the ego is like, you're not responsible. This isn't your fault. That guy's a jerk. Okay. how am I responsible? What did I do at some point in my life? Maybe not to this person, but guaranteed, for me especially, like I really try not to insult people because I used to be really quick with it. And insulting people, that's a really low vibing, low intelligent thing to do. It's quick and easy and it makes you feel good in the moment, but it doesn't serve anybody. So anytime I'm like, you're an asshole, I instantly like, how am I an asshole? What am I doing right now? Good. And I acknowledge really it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kind of being an asshole. Sorry. So
that's really good. That's really good. I like the way you frame that about taking responsibility and having your authority, not giving your authority to someone else. I've been in a study group for A Course in Miracles, and it's talking about special relationships where you say this other person is going to make me complete. This other person is going to make me a whole being. Well, that puts a lot of pressure on the other person then. And if they fail to meet your expectations, then, well, you can't be complete because that other person didn't live up to your expectations. And so it talks about taking those special relationships and turning them into holy relationships to know that you're just fine, you're good, you're perfect, and so are they. And then you can come together and help each other on your spiritual journey rather than relying on them to make you fulfilled.
So many relationships or pseudo relationships, they are not love, it's codependence. It's complete codependence. And yeah, and just the terminology that we use, I want to find my other half or my better half, or when I, that whole like thinking that you're whole when you meet another person. Exactly. Like you have those expectations. And the thing is, we get wrapped up in these fantasies of what we think our relationship should be. And in the beginning, everything, that person might be checking off all the little boxes and texting you the way that you need to be texted and, doing the right thing. And the second that they do something that did not fall in line with your story, now all of a sudden it's like, well, we're not meant to be. I'm going to ghost you. I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm just going to go back on Tinder, whatever. You didn't do this right. And then we get all upset or whatever because they didn't live up to our expectation, and then we don't live up to theirs, and there's all this friction and miscommunication where if you take a step back and be like, okay, this person does this, can I accept it? And knowing if you are strong in yourself, first of all, before you ever try to get into a relationship with someone else, you need to know what your deal breakers are and have at least 5 that are not negotiable. For me, I will never date anybody that does drugs again. My ex-husband was a drug addict. I will not do it. I don't care if you only do it on weekends every once in a while. I'm not going to date you because I've seen it and I'm not going to put myself through that. So, and then for me, it's like smokers. I'm like, I'd prefer not, but that's a gray area for me, but I'd prefer not. It's kind of getting into the deal breaker. But so there's little things. And then there's other stuff where it's like, okay, well, they need whatever it is, if they need every Sunday to themselves, that's not a deal breaker for me. That's something that I have to sit back and be like, okay, am I willing to be in a relationship with someone that does not want to hang out with me on Sundays ever? Like, am I okay with that? And it's not about them. That's what they're saying. And then I either need to accept it for myself and honor it or move on. And a lot of times we find people that like, it's the puzzle piece where it almost fits, but it's not quite. And we just try to force it because we're so scared. Like they're such a good person and we're so scared that if we let them go, we're never going to find anybody else and we're going to die alone. There's always somebody better. The thing for me is like, I've dated amazing guys. I've been single for a long time and I've dated really, really incredible men. And every time someone comes in my life, I'm like, wow, this is an amazing man. And then as soon as it starts to not quite fit or work out and I see that it's not going to be a future, I don't get bummed out. I let it go really quick because I'm like, wow, if I brought that into my life, what's next? Because I did more work on myself. So I know that there's going to be space for something better to come. And every single time it is better and it's closer. And I'm friends with all of them still because when it ends, I'm not like, oh my God, you rejected me. I'm like, okay, so sweet. Like, cool, we can hang out, whatever, done.
It's a very forward-thinking, conscious way to approach a relationship. Saying, you're another human being, you're having your experience. How can we share an experience? And if it's not meant to be for a long time, great, take what you can from it and continue your journey.
Yeah, you learn from it. And people focus on what they don't have and the lack versus what they do have.
Living in that scarcity mindset and that fear.
Absolutely. The fear is a killer, the scarcity mindset. And then even with, the law of attraction, the law of attention, whatever you want to call it, our words have power and they create our reality.
Yeah.
I, a long time ago, learned to remove don't, know, and can't from my vocabulary. I don't ever say, I can't do this, or I don't do that, whatever. Because when you do that, the universe does not understand what you're saying. It hears the end of it. So if you say, I don't want to be late to work, the universe hears, be late to work. And then you are late to work and you're sitting there stressing about it. And that energy that you create, your thoughts create your reality and the energy goes with it. So you're creating that reality. So I don't want to be late for work. I don't want to be late for work. I can't believe this. Now I'm late for work. Okay, scrap that. What is it that you do want? Well, I want to be on time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be on time. Sweet. And as you tell that, your mind and your energy follows, and then magically you'll hit every green light and whatever, and then you go on time. The flip side to that, when you're learning to trust your intuition, you're saying, you're putting everything right. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be on time. And then maybe there's a detour or something happen where you're going to be late, but instead of getting upset and being in resistance to it, be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to be late, and I'm trusting that you're leading me where I need to be. And so many times I've had it happen where I had to give in and not resist and not be upset. And then I find out that there was like a horrible car accident, or, I go this way. I know I have a friend who told a story where they had something like this happen and they were being detoured through all of these back streets and they did not understand why. But as they came through a street, there was a toddler that had gotten out of the house and started to run across traffic. And this guy just happened to be right there at the right time to get out and get the kid back into the house before it disappeared.
Wow.
So it's about being in flow. And I just got chicken skin.
Yeah.
So being in flow and trusting.
Yeah.
And not being so,
Yeah. Yeah. That is the beautiful part of life, where you're able to be in the flow. The term go with the flow. Yeah, but be in the flow and just let it go. That's one thing that I have to learn. I talked with Leanne, she gave me a numerology report, and it said that you have a tendency, the shadow side is that you want to reach and seek. Instead, let things come to you. Use your intuition and let things come to you. And I'm like, oh, that's really accurate, because, achieve, go for it, fire sign, go get the prize, just that entrepreneur type thing. But there's times where you just got to sit back, you got to let it relax, and you got to let it flow. And then you find that's when universe, spirit, source lets things work on your behalf.
So that is also the balance between masculine and feminine energy. So we all have that, and we're completely out of balance in it in life. But our left side of our body is our feminine. Our right is our masculine. The masculine side is about going, getting, achieving, doing, going, like get shit done. And the feminine side is about receiving and allowing and just being and letting things come to us. And we are not in a feminine, we're getting there. We're coming into the age of Aquarius. We're in a shift into a feminine mindset and energy. That's why things are so crazy right now. We're in a shift. And things have been very masculine driven. Women have learned how to adapt to be masculine. Now it's time that the men need to start understanding and learning how to be more comfortable in their feminine.
Yeah,
and it's good. Not, whatever. It's about being strong. Yeah. It's femininity is strength.
Yeah. It's
straight up strength. It's, I don't want to say anything's better than the other, but being feminine is freaking strong.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. The feminine energy is incredibly more powerful than it's allowed to be. I've seen it with Sweet Lady Gail, the mother of our children. She's super strong. She's always the rock, and the feminine energy is so beautiful. Yeah, you've got the softness, you've got the girl, but the feminine energy is about that steady rock. It just seems like so many times that male, masculine dude, let's just go do it. Well, that's whenever I just go do things, that's where I get into financial issues. I get into some problems. I get into like, I wish I'd have waited until, and I think that's so important to be able to integrate the energy.
Masculine, yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of my clients, especially the females, when they have some sort of physical pain or disease or discomfort, I always ask them which side of the body it's on. And then I ask them what's going on in their home life and their relationship. And almost always there is some sort of out of balance. Either they're doing too much and trying to achieve too much and ignoring their feminine side, or their feminine side in their relationship is being neglected and it shows up physically. So with that, so that's one of the things I do with all of my modalities that I work on. But we have our physical body, but we have our subtle energy bodies. So we have our mental, emotional, and spiritual. So out here, the stuff that you can't see very much exists. And things are not manifesting physically first. It shows up in the body after we've completely ignored what's out here. So when we're out of alignment spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, which most of us are, because we're not taught. We are taught to suppress our emotions and not feel anything. We're taught to be in fear, especially if you have the religious beliefs and background, like fear everything. And spirituality is a hot mess of a topic. So all of that, and then when we are ignoring our purpose and our passion and ourselves, then our body is like, okay, well, you're not listening, so this is going to show up for you. And Louise Hay, who recently passed, but her books, I mean, I live by them. I always go straight to, I have the little Heal Your Body one. And before I even, like, I'll have my intuitive stuff, but I always go just to double check with what she said, because it's on point. It's absolutely on point.
So good. Louise Hay was so amazing the way she brought to light so many people. She started, is it Hay House? She started Hay House Publishing. Amazing material, and then it just grew into, she started a culture, she started a revolution. And yeah, if you're looking for resources, you can find everything that you're looking for on Hay House Publishing. It's a great resource.
Hay House, not only that, but everything's in integrity. Like the authors, I've gotten to work different events that are part of Hay House, and I'm friends with people that have been published and work in that family. And everybody's integrity. We're all here we're living our truth, our passion, and our purpose, and we're here to serve. So.
Oh, so good. So what's the next thing you're working on? You've got retreats, you've got things, you're doing business, you're doing coaching. What's the thing you're working on where you're ready to launch, you're ready to explode?
Well, I'm seeing one-on-one clients, and I have my office in Tempe, and then I also do a lot of work online. I do Skype or Zoom calls or whatever, and I'm getting into a new thing for the people that don't have a lot of money, but I want to create programs that are available to anybody. So I'm creating 30-day programs, transformation programs that you can opt into, and there'll be different categories. I'm doing right now, the ones that are coming out, there's a health and wellness one, there's a money mindset, I'm doing a chronic pain one, and then there's going to be more. So you join in, and it can be online for this. And you opt in. It's going to be a small fee. There's either going to be like $100 one-time fee, or if it's an ongoing thing, then there's going to be a small monthly charge for it, but it's affordable. And you need to be able to invest in yourself. That's a huge thing. People want stuff for free, and that's a reflection.
Yeah, you're giving energy. When you give your financial energy, number one, you help support. You know, we have people support us on this show. When you give your support, you're making that available, and you're creating good energy. And in turn, you're going to receive back what you're giving out.
Yeah, so that's the money mindset one. That's why I'm doing that's as one of the first programs, because so many people talk about fear, like the fear of money, or I ask people all the time, it's like, which would you rather have? If you say you want to go to Maui, you want a trip to Maui, would you rather have the trip to Maui, or would you have the money? And a lot of people be like, the money. I'm like, ooh, what's that going to do? So money mindset. But I do these quick programs. They're 30-day transformational programs online that are at a small price point, so that you can get in and you do the assignments, you do the work, you get me, and usually have other coaches and stuff come on, so that you're making a shift forward, so then you can start and really perpetuate your spiritual or healing or whatever journey you're on. So for the people that are in a different state, if you're in Syracuse, New York, if you're in Portland, Oregon, wherever you're at, you still have the opportunity to find resources, to make contact with Tammy. What's your website? TammySharp.com, my name. I have two. I have TammySharp.com, and then the other thing that I'm doing, so Unshakable Roots is my business, and I recently just decided to grow my team, because it's not all about me, and I can't I don't want to spend my time working one-on-one all the time. Like I have my clients that I work with and I'm taking on some more right now, but I want to be able to go. I love group coaching. I love the retreats. I love the programs, the workshops, and talking. I can talk clearly. So I like speaking. I do a lot of speaking events and all of that. And I have practitioners that aren't so great with, they don't want to do speaking and do this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they just want to see their clients. So I'm building my team of different modalities because I do hypnotherapy, Reiki, and coaching and some other stuff, but there's so many other modalities. There's polarity, massage is amazing, acupuncture, toe reading. Toe reading is a real thing and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. There's just a million different other modalities that are so effective. So I'm putting together a team that you can come in and work and try these different things and really serious. If you're serious about changing your life, healing from whatever it is, I'm going to have all the resources. So my unshakableroots.com website is going to get a complete overhaul here in the next month, and it's going to feature my team.
That is awesome. So there's good things on the horizon. At the end of the show, I like the guest to give that one thing that if people didn't hear anything I said today, this is the one thing I want them to take away. What would that be for you?
The time is now. It's all you have. Tomorrow, not guaranteed. 5 minutes, not guaranteed. So if you want to do something, stop waiting. Stop waiting to be perfect. Stop trying to have it all figured out. Stop stressing about it and just bleep. I can cuss, but I will censor it. Just do it. For the ones that can't hear that word, just do it. Yeah. Step up. One of the things, like I do all of this stuff, my thing, I love music, I sing, I play guitar, and I do it, and I've worked on my stage fright for years, and for me, I'm constantly thinking about wanting to be in a band. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why am I not doing this? The only one holding me back is me. Yep. So stop holding yourself back and do what makes you happy. Yep. Whatever makes your heart sing. If you want to travel, then figure it out. There's so many ways, and do not use money as an excuse. So do it. Yeah. Now.
Awesome. Tammy, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
It's just a delight to visit with you. Make sure you go to our website, TammySharp.com. There's all sorts of things that this girl is doing. I feel like I get to know you before you blow up and you just take the world over. So
you're coming on the journey with me.
Well, I think there's a lot of collaboration. I'm excited about it. Thanks for being a part of my journey on exploring the human journey, and you're awesome. High five.
Yay. Thank you.
I'm David Marsh, and you've been watching Exploring the Human Journey on YouTube as a video and listening as a podcast. If you would like to help continue the conversation, please consider supporting us by visiting patreon.com, where you can support us on a monthly basis and get extra bonus content. For as little as $1 a month, you can make this show sustainable and help continue spiritual consciousness. You can also help by following us on Facebook and Instagram. For more information about the show, find us online at exploringthehumanjourney.com.